I wanted to bring you some predictions for social media and what's actually going to be happening on Instagram, what's going to be happening on the rest of the platforms, and how you can streamline your content creation process across the board so you're still staying relevant. Number one, signature series are going to take over the standalone content. Now, it's already been happening across the board in 2025, especially between Instagram and TikTok. Every single time you scroll through the Instagram Reels tab, you're probably seeing the same creators over and over again with different parts of their signature series, whether it is a completed signature series, for example, part 1 out of 7, part 3 out of 10, whether it is a continuous signature series. Now, it's not a new concept. It's been around for ages. It's just become more prominent this year because people want to have more depth in their content, and your audience also wants more depth because for the longest of times we've had short form content that's been dominating the space. And I don't know about you, but personally I get tired of it. I even had this conversation with somebody a little while ago to where I used to engage very actively on social media, specifically Instagram. It's always been one of my marketing tactics. I called it a power hour, to where I would spend literally an hour on social media, strategically engaging, but also being genuine about it, not just being in a way, oh, I'm just here to engage with you so you can buy my stuff. No, I've always genuinely engaged with my community. But then 2020 and 2023, I would say, those 3 years when everybody knows what's been happening, the TikTok has been on the rise. And of course, Instagram took over with the same idea. Oh, we're going to have the short form videos. And of course, everybody was dancing, pointing to the screen, trending sounds, this and that, lip syncing videos. At some point, it just gets really tiring. Now, I love fun content, but there's other ways to bring the fun into your content. So for me, I remember logging into Instagram when we were all home, and I would scroll through the feed and I would be like, there's literally nothing with me to engage on because everybody would be dancing. There would be no context. There would be no way for me to add any of my original thought to the video because the original video had no thought in it. And I'm not throwing shades to any creators, please don't get this wrong, but there was no context. There was no depth to the content. So I've always turned back to YouTube. I spend on YouTube probably every single day. Either I'm watching some sort of video, either I'm, listening to a video podcast or listening to a regular podcast. So if you're listening to this podcast right now, whether it is on video, whether it is on Spotify or Apple or whatever, you might be the same way because you want depth and you're not getting that through the short form videos. Hence why signature series is a really great idea to bring that depth to your content, because you can take essentially your long form YouTube video and turn it into a signature series. In fact, this entire episode, as I'm talking you through this, I could take this and split it into 7 different videos for my Instagram or for my Facebook or for my TikTok. And having a signature series is essentially almost like having long form content strategy, but it's just your massive thought is broken down into short standalone episodes, either standalone or it could be a continuous process. It could be your journey. Maybe you're documenting your journey from day 1 to day 30. Maybe you're documenting your weight loss journey. Maybe you're documenting launching your podcast, and maybe you're documenting, some people are documenting their journey from $0 to $10,000 a month. So whatever it is that you're doing, you could document that and publish that as a signature series because people want to be taken behind the scenes. And we're going to talk about the behind the scenes strategy as well. So keep on listening. Then you also want to keep in mind, there are a bunch of different benefits when it comes to signature series. Series create pattern recognition and brand recognition. So every single time you have, whether it's the same studio where you're recording in, you have the same signature props. Maybe you're using, I don't know, like a specific lipstick. Maybe you have like you're holding a pen in your video. So whatever the case may be, you are creating that signature recognition to where people know, oh, it's that girl that talks about the thing. I'm going to give you a really random example. So this is a signature series that was created by a woman on TikTok without actually making it a signature series. So there's been a girl that people call her a girl with a list. Okay. And every single time somebody shares any kind of downsides to pregnancy or giving birth or having kids, that girl keeps a list and she just adds everything in there. Now, I don't know how many things are on that list right now, basically the disadvantages of getting pregnant or giving birth to kids. And it's probably hundreds and hundreds of things on that list because last time I saw it, there was about 200 or 300 bullet points on that list. And every single time there is some sort of video when a girl talks about her experience of pregnancy, somebody in the comments goes, "Where's the girl with the list?" So she gave herself a name in that specific little field. So she became known for that. So your signature series is going to do exactly that. Signature series also improve your watch time. So if you are on YouTube, you know what watch time is. It's one of the most important metrics on there. It's the elusive 4,000 hours of watch time that you need to get in a 12-month period to be monetized. On Instagram, you're also now able to track watch time and how much of your video people actually watch. So if you have a 7-second video and your watch time is 30 minutes, that's not a lot compared to a 60-second video that's a part of the series that's going to compound over time. You're going to get hours and hours of watch time, meaning the longer people watch your content, the more trust you're able to build. Because this year it's been called that we have a trust recession in the coaching industry, in the online marketing industry. So if you want to improve the trust with your audience, show up with a signature series. And then another thing, if you are going to start a brand new Instagram account, let's say you want to start a new business, you want to start a new project, you can kick off your account with a signature series. In fact, there's been a girl who literally started a 30-day series on a brand new Instagram account. Literally, it was called Just Doing Anything. And 30 days of doing something, basically, was her signature series. And, she started it just documenting her journey, her day-to-day. She didn't have any kind of business, and now she has hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers. If you're ready to create your own signature series, but you want to make sure that it's up to standard and it's actually going to work, I'm going to leave a link to the free masterclass that I did on 10 clues that will determine whether your signature series is going to be a winner. So check it out. It's about 45-minute masterclass, and I know it's going to give you a ton of value in there. My prediction for content strategy for 2026 number 2 is unpolished, raw, and real-time content is going to dominate. Now, what do I mean by that? You know the era where Hormozi created those overly edited and polished Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and TikToks. Iman Gaji has also created kind of a wave of that super polished short form video content. A lot of video editors have skyrocketed their business because there's been such a demand for that. Now, I'm not saying there's now no demand for video editors. There's always going to be a demand for video editors, in my opinion. However, people want the raw you. They want less edits because, in my opinion, it's very overstimulating to see a video and there are just pop-ups on every single part of the video. Yes, you do want to have that, but considering how much you can do with AI and considering that everybody can do that today, even without a professional video editor, even without paying for expensive softwares, you can still achieve that kind of result with a video. But you don't really need that. People want to see you, they want to see your experience, they want to see your expertise, they want to see your journey. Like I said, they want to see signature series, they want to see the process of doing something behind the scenes, they want your experience because they can get value from ChatGPT. They can go ask it a question and they're going to get an answer within less than 5 seconds. How is your content going to be different? Now, ChatGPT doesn't really have feelings, doesn't really have emotions, doesn't have your personality, even though it tries to have a personality. Literally today when I was on ChatGPT, I logged in and it gave me an option on what kind of voice I want to hear from ChatGPT. Whether I want it to be fun and quirky, whether I want it to be professional, whether I want it to be exactly how it's been talking to me the last year or so. And I was like, sure, let's have some fun. Let's add the fun and quirky voice. So I'll report back on how that goes and what kind of answers it gives me. And I'm not saying this, do not use ChatGPT, do not use AI, because it is going to give you an advantage. It does speed up a lot of your workflows by a mile, especially if it's something admin, especially if it's doing any kind of transcripts, squeezing out quotes from your YouTube videos or whatever the case may be. It really does speed up the process, but you don't want to let it control your life, if I'm gonna be any more cheesy with that. One type of content that is taking over, and it has been for this entire year, is the type that looks like a FaceTime video. So every single time I tell my clients what kind of video to create, how to position yourself in the camera, so you're basically on the eye level with your audience, meaning that you record your video like you're talking to a friend. Picture yourself on a FaceTime call, right? How are you holding the camera? You're not just like super far from it, unless you're, like with your AirPods and then you're just walking around the house. But usually if you're on a FaceTime, you're on an actual video call with somebody and you just want to see the friend that you haven't seen in a while. You hold it like this. So hold your camera like this. And there I say, don't be afraid to use the front camera, because I know a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't be using the front camera, the back camera makes such a difference. I use my back camera as much as I can. I mean, when I record for my YouTube channel, I do record on my Sony camera, but if you don't want to bother with setting up the phone and making sure that you see that you're in the right frame, just take your phone out, record, because your message is going to matter a lot more. Now, I will say this though, make sure you have good audio. Like if you have not the best quality of the video, but you have a crisp audio sound, then you're golden for the video. Because people want to see the unpolished version of you. People want to see behind the scenes. They want to see what it's like running a business. They want to see what's the process of clearing your skin looks like in 30 days without going to the beauty salon. They want to see what is actually happening in your life. And there was an era before where you shouldn't have used the word I in your content. Now people actually want to see that. Yes, we still use the powerful NLP word, which is you, but you use that on your sales pages. You use that on, your checkout cards. You use that in your marketing materials, in your emails. But in your content, when people say, oh, like, I'm not interested in your life, they are interested because they want to see how can your experience benefit my life? Because they're still asking the question, what's in it for me? But your delivery can start with, I achieved this by following this process. Here's how it can work potentially for you. Prediction number 3 is the return of long form content. Now, I'm not saying that it has gone anywhere, because there have been thousands of podcasts that have been produced over the last year, and like years in general. But I know that a lot of creators have been relying on Instagram. They have been relying on just publishing YouTube shorts. They've been relying on just the Facebook reels, or the short and snappy content. Even if it's a 5-minute TikTok, that it just stays on TikTok, despite sure being searchable. But that YouTube is still the second largest search platform. Google is still the #1 search platform. Yes, your Instagram videos can be found right now. Yes, you can optimize your social media content. You can optimize your Instagram reels. But the long form content is still going to build the most amount of trust with your audience. Again, when somebody spends 30 seconds on your video versus spending 20 minutes on the podcast with you, it's a very different kind of relationship. I remember the podcast that I listened to. I remember the guests that I listened to, and I'm more likely to buy from them than just after watching a 30-second video on Instagram. Let me give you this in comparison. Let's say a video is 60 seconds. It's a short, or like a YouTube short, right? I just see that. In order for me to watch a 20-minute video from that person, in order for me to spend 20 minutes of my time with them, I have to scroll 20 videos. So you essentially, as a creator, if I'm watching you, I have to consume 20 videos. So you have to create those 20 videos. Sure, they're short form, they're valuable, they are quick and snappy, maybe it's a signature series, doesn't matter. But if you create a 20-minute one podcast episode or one YouTube video and I watched that entire thing in full, then it only took you one video to create. Not to mention that one of the smartest content strategies I've been teaching for the last probably like 5+ years has been taking your long form content and letting it drive your social media content. Because when you know what your weekly YouTube video is about, then you don't have to question, what the heck am I posting on Instagram today? Long form video is exactly how you deliver that depth to your audience that they're looking for. Long form content allows you to share your expertise and how your brain works. Because short form videos, they're simply top of your funnel. They are good for discoverability. Sure, somebody finds you, maybe you have a video that goes viral, they find your Instagram and they're like, oh, okay, sure, maybe I'm gonna follow her. But then your long form content is what allows you to build depth, what allows your audience also to build depth with you, and they see how you essentially function, how you potentially can solve their problems. Now, it's been predicted before that podcasts are going to explode in 2025, and I've seen kind of the surge of people come into the podcast world, myself included. So mine has launched in September, so we are just about 3 months old right now. And recently I had a conversation with somebody who is a podcasting manager. So the lady has an agency that runs people's podcasts and helps them streamline the workflow and all that kind of stuff. And I asked her, I was like, are video podcasts going to be kind of like the next big thing in 2026? And she said, yes, we're already seeing more and more people starting specifically video podcasts because YouTube. Hello. YouTube is still one of the most powerful platforms. And I truly believe that YouTube channels are going to go on the rise again in 2026. Again, not that they haven't, but I do believe that more creators are going to jump on the YouTube bandwagon because personally, I still have videos getting hundreds of views, even though I'm not showing up really actively on YouTube. Ever since I launched the podcast, I'm going to be completely honest, I kind of dropped the ball on YouTube. I've been posting some shorts here and there, but the podcast has taken over a lot. And between that and launching different offers in this last quarter of 2025, it's been a lot to manage on my own. But despite that, I still have old videos that are bringing in subscribers. I still have old videos that I published years ago that I'm not even touching right now. And they're still bringing in people, even into my old Facebook group that I no longer use. I've had a couple of people request to join, and I have a question, where did you find this Facebook group? And they say YouTube. So it just goes to prove the point that YouTube is forever going to stay here. Sure, TikTok maybe is going to go away. We don't know that. I personally don't think it's going to go away, but YouTube has been here for years and years. And I know the reason why a lot of people are scared of YouTube is because, yes, it does feel like a full-time job managing the channel, creating the video, creating the thumbnails, writing descriptions, and all of that. But trust me when I say this, having a YouTube channel is going to be one of the smartest moves you're going to make in 2026. And again, having a video podcast, in my opinion, is going to be really smart strategy simply because there's not that many ways how you can repurpose an audio only. But there are hundreds of ways how you can repurpose the video. So even though a lot of my podcasts haven't been going on YouTube, I still have the videos that I have in my Descript account, and I take the short pieces from them and I repurpose them on my Instagram, which have been getting pretty good views actually. Social media prediction number 4, social commerce is going to hit a new peak. Now, I've been on Instagram since the end of 2014. It's been the very first platform that I started using back when I was in my network marketing days, in my affiliate marketing days. And we used to say that people don't come to social media to buy, they come to social media to be educated, inspired, and entertained. Now, you've heard all of those phrases before. Now, to be educated, inspired, and entertained, sure, people still come to social media for that because especially during the holiday season, everybody wants to take a break from their lovely families, and maybe you spend extra 5 minutes in the bathroom and scrolling through TikTok or through your Facebook feeds just to take the edge off, as they say. But today, you come to social media to actually buy. So it's been about a 10-year difference between those two things. So it's no longer relevant to say people don't come to social media to buy. We literally do. Not just because of the ads, but because of the TikTok shop. I think there's also YouTube shop right now. There's used to be Instagram shop. I no longer see it on my end, but you may be seeing it on your end because Instagram sometimes takes the features away. For example, earlier this year, it took away the story captions from my account, and I was so mad. So now it brought them back, so very exciting. But the shopping feature is going to be very prominent. So if you are listening to this and you have an e-commerce brand, it's going to be a smart strategy to move forward and set up a TikTok shop, set up an Instagram shop if that's a thing. I personally haven't seen it again, but maybe it is available on your end. And when you are promoting the products, here's what I will say from the strategy standpoint, from the marketing and sales strategy. When you are, let's say you're a creator on a TikTok shop, and you are promoting a specific product, whether it's a supplement, whether it's a makeup brand, anything like this, specific product, you want to make sure that you're directing people to that exact checkout cart so they can buy that product right away, instead of sending them to a random sales page or a random shop and they have to search and find the product. And when it comes to the coaching industry and the service provider industry, you still want to be active on social media because that's where sales conversations are happening. And we're going to touch on this in one of the future predictions that I'm going to make. But you don't just want to be just on YouTube. You still want to have a way how you're going to communicate with your audience and convert them into your paid programs, courses, masterminds, group communities, or whatnot. So you essentially want to think of your Instagram account as kind of your digital storefront in a way. Now, I'm not saying that every single post of yours is going to be promotional, but you still want to make sure that you promote in stories, that you have an optimized link in bio, or you just have one link per launch. For example, when I started launching CEO Signature 7 Telegram community, which you can join, and I'm going to drop a link down below here as well in the show notes. When I started promoting it, I removed all of the links from all of my social media profiles because I didn't want people to be confused. I just wanted them to go to that one specific link. On my Facebook profile, I literally deleted my YouTube channel, I deleted my website because it's been under construction, and on Instagram, I do not use link in bios frequently. If I'm launching something, I just want people to go to that one specific thing. Prediction number 5 is private communities are going to be the norm in social media. Now, you see that there are Instagram broadcast communities, like those channels where you can just have a group chat with your audience essentially, and you can drop the audios, you can drop polls, you can do all sorts of different things in the Instagram community specifically. And not only that, memberships are going to take over, in my opinion, because a lot of people are craving that community factor because they don't just want to buy a product or a course and do it on their own time. Sure, that's still a thing. We're still buying courses, we're still buying templates, that's still there. But you want to give people that community because with AI, sure, we can ask it anything. ChatGPT is not going to give us the community feeling. People still want to be supported, and I've always been a believer in, first of all, investing in yourself, whether it is one-on-one mentors, whether it's group programs, whether it's memberships. For the last year, I've been a part of a membership, also now part of a mastermind. You need to have that level of community. You need to have the support as a business owner, whether that's any kind of level of support that you can afford yourself. You don't just want to do things on your own, because it literally made a huge difference for myself personally, and I know it can make a huge difference for you. Now, another type of community that you may consider is have something on Telegram. For example, this year alone, I've run a couple of things inside of Telegram. I ran 10 CEO confessions on Telegram. It was around June or July, I believe. So when I shared 10 lessons that I got in the last 10 years of being an entrepreneur, I've ran the signature content series lab also on Telegram. So the community aspect has to be somewhere, because people want support and they want quick support. So if you can facilitate that for your audience, in my opinion, Telegram is a great platform. You could be using Voxer, you could be using, again, Instagram. I think there are private channels right now as well, so double check that. Or it could even be a micro membership. So it could be a micro offer, so to speak. It could be literally a $7 membership, and you drive everybody into it. So that's been a strategy that several business owners have been using in the last couple of years. I've been personally a part of one specific $7 a month membership for about, I don't even remember how long. It's been probably 4 or 5 years. I don't even always log in there, but I'm just like, I know that I'm not going to cancel that. And I know I want to be a part of it because I can dive into it whenever I want to. So having that sort of membership is also another good idea. Social media prediction number 6 is DM support and conversation-led sales. Now, it's always been a thing to have conversations in the DMs and to have specifically sales conversations. Some coaches don't like doing it. Some coaches just have, here's my offer, buy my thing, here's my membership, buy my thing. But I do believe that being open to having a conversation with your audience, especially if it's some sort of high ticket, whether it's high ticket membership, whether it is a high ticket 101 program, it's still good to have that intimate conversation to make sure that it's the right person that you want to have in your space or the person wants to be in your particular space. In my opinion, and from my experience in network marketing, basically direct sales, from experience in affiliate marketing and coaching in the last 10-ish years, I've noticed that every single time I do DMs, I always get sales. Because here's the thing, with social media algorithms, the way that they are right now, you want to be able to get in front of your audience quickly. Because, I have thousands of followers on my Facebook profile. I have 2,500 followers on my Instagram profile. But the views on stories are not always viewing. They're not always super high. Even your regular content is not being seen just because of how many content creators there are. And especially during the last quarter of each year, the big advertisers are tripling, quadrupling their budgets. So it's very hard to be seen. But having a simple DM conversation is going to really make a difference. Because sometimes all it takes for somebody to buy from you is to simply have a quick conversation, could be over voice notes, could be even a quick call. Especially when you want to have somebody in your maybe long-term mastermind, maybe in your one-on-one coaching, any kind of long-form program, in my opinion, it's better to have that conversation because you're going to be spending a lot of time with that person. So you want to make sure that it's somebody that you see yourself working long-term with. And social media prediction number 7 is AI content will still dominate the feed, but the only way you're going to differentiate yourself from all of that AI noise is your personality and human-led content. Now, I love AI personally. I have truly nothing against it besides the fact that a lot of people outsource their power to AI. A lot of people outsource their entire thinking to AI. They try to outsource their creativity to AI. And now you can do a lot of creative things with AI. You can create amazing graphics. You can create amazing videos. But you have to understand that AI was not originally, in my opinion, created to replace your brain. Now you have to understand that AI is not just there to create content. It's not just there to create scripts for your videos. It's not just there to replace your brain. You still have to use your brain. But when you're using that to replace your creativity, replace your brand positioning, it just becomes too obvious. And now I know some people say, oh, but there's no way to tell how I'm using AI. Janet, yes, there is. It's so obvious sometimes to see that people are using AI. Even I do use AI. I do use it sometimes for content ideas. I do use it sometimes to start the caption or to end the caption and then see what it's going to give me. And then 9 times out of 10, I'm just getting an idea out of it. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I never thought of this. Or I could add a specific hook in the beginning that I didn't think of. Or it just sparks a different idea. So it doesn't always give a genius idea, in my opinion. It doesn't always give a genius hook idea. I feel like when you're having a conversation with somebody or even on a coaching call, you can come up with a way better hook than what ChatGPT gives you. But there are really smart ways how you can use AI. Now, there's a couple that I can mention off the top of my head. First of all, every single time I have a podcast episode, I use Descript to edit it. And it has AI features built in. For example, removing the weird pauses, removing the M and all of the words that I repeat a lot of the time. So it removes that. It can also clean the audio. So if there's any kind of noise, like I currently have computer noise that I really hope is not going to be heard on this particular podcast. But using AI in that sense really saves you a lot of time, because I tried editing videos before Descript and removing all these awkward pauses and filler words, and it takes hours upon hours. Even if I were to hire an editor for that specifically, it would take them hours. It's not time efficient. So for me, paying for Descript is worth it, because those AI features do not replace my creativity, they do not replace my brain, they do speed up my workflow. So it literally takes a couple of seconds for it to process the entire audio or video. So that kind of AI I love. Another way that I use AI, it's also Descript. By the way, this is not a sponsored video, I'm just referencing it because that's what I use almost every single day. It creates a transcript, so you essentially edit the transcript of your video rather than the video file. So you edit the text basically of whatever it is that you said in the video or the audio. And once it gives me the transcript, then I run it through ChatGPT, because it's what I said, it's my original thoughts, it's my original ideas. I run it through ChatGPT so it can organize my show notes, so it can organize the quotes or pull out the quotes from the episode so I can repurpose them on my Facebook or my Threads account. So that's how you can use AI without compromising your creativity. And now keep in mind, AI is not going to replicate your stories. It's not going to replicate your personality or your conviction about what it is that you do or your embodied experiences. It's not ever going to replicate that. That has to come from you. And that's truly what's going to be standing out on social media next year and beyond. Because yes, AI is fun and the content is great sometimes, but we still want actual humans. I don't come to social media to talk to robots, because sometimes people say, oh, my social media engagement sucks. I've been one of those people this year as well. But the problem with that is because you open Facebook, and unless you have a very well curated and trained algorithm, your like trained feed, that you only see specific creators that you actually like seeing, unless that's the case, you are seeing a bunch of robots talking to each other. And that's not what social media was originally made for. And that's why I also mentioned that DMs and any form of communication with your audience and conversations is really going to be prominent, because people have forgot the social part in social media, in my opinion. Engagement sometimes feels really forced. Heck, even the engagement has been faked this year. Apparently, and you probably know this, maybe you don't, people have been using AI to create comments for their social media. And I'm like, that is not what social media was originally created for. Again, love AI. There's so many ways how you can use it, but being social is not one of them. Now, I truly believe that 2026 is going to be a very interesting year when in the social media space. I'm really curious to see what predictions are going to come to life and with what else we're going to see in the next year, because I feel like we've seen it all in 2025. But with the way AI is progressing, with the way technology is moving forward, I know things are probably going to get crazy. But if there's one thing that cannot be replicated, it's your personality, your personal brand. So I truly believe that personal branding is still going to be one of the best ways to differentiate yourself in a quote unquote saturated market. So hone in on that and hone in on storytelling. And if you want to walk into 2026 with absolute clarity and power in your personal brand and the unwavering confidence in your offers, knowing that you have everything set up for your business ready to go, then check out the CEO Signature 7. It's a 7-day Telegram activation portal, call it whatever you want. So it's 7 days, highly potent audios where I essentially give you exactly what I've done for my brand in the last 12 months to go from basic freelancer, social media manager, website designer, kind of like the creative all-in-one, to back to my coaching roots and rebuilding my entire offer suite, rebuilding my entire brand, going from basically having a beige brand to having a brand that truly stands out. Check out CEO Signature 7. I know you're going to get a ton of value from it. And if you have any other predictions that I haven't mentioned in this episode, please DM me on Instagram. Let's chat about it. Let me know what your take is on that. If there's anything you disagree with in this episode, by the way, feel free to message me. I would love to have a discussion. And I'm looking forward to having a chat with you.